Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon SoulSilver. In the last one we made our way through seeing what's to get ourselves the gym badge in the process, as well as the medication for the Ampharos, which I have now completely forgot existed at this point in time of recording, so we'll go back to help that Pokemon and Jasmine later. For now though, we're heading north of Mahogany Town towards the Lake of Rage, and we have a new Pokemon along the way. This is Sandslash. Pure ground type, so it's weak to water, grass, and ice. This thing is a physical tank like nothing else. Really high physical defense, decent physical attack, good HP on top of that. But the rest of its stats are pretty low and lackluster. And since its main weaknesses are mostly special moves, it can be pretty dangerous to throw this out against anything that can learn those moves. But if you put the right moveset on a Sandslash, it can be fantastic. I've loved using them for years. It's one of my favorite pure ground types. I love it. Don't go into that hallway, by the way. If you try to go through there, there's Team Rocket Grunts in there. They'll charge you 10,000 Poké to get through. And frankly, it's better for you to hold on to that kind of cash, so I just recommend taking the route around to fight the Pokemon trainers along the way as well. Also, I should note, here on Route 43, there's not too many new Pokemon you can catch from memory. I think it's mostly, Venonats, Noctowls, some of the Mareep line. There's exactly, I think, one new Pokemon you can find here, and you can find it at any time of the day. But we're not going to see one of them, I think, for a long while. Also, hats off for Scott for still being in the party this far in. Cut is a surprisingly useful HM through most of the game just to get very minor items like the Apricorns. And it helps in this case that I still don't have the final member of my main team. In fact, we're not going to have them until closer to gym number 8 for a fact. Because, again, I brought it up slightly before, a problem I have with Gen 2 is that they paced the Pokemon very poorly, for the new ones at least. You can find a healthy amount of Kanto Pokemon throughout Johto, but the amount of Johto Pokemon you can find throughout are very low. In fact, if I look back through the notes for these last few parts, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's still less than 10 Pokemon, even the last 3 parts that are new to Johto, which is kind of sad. What's not sad, though, is Slowbro. Water Psychic type, so it is weak to Bug, Ghost, Grass, Electric, and Dark. This is just a really solid tank, because it's got good defense stats all around, really good special attack, good HP. It's not too fast is the biggest problem, but I think with a Pokemon like this, you could justify the speed loss, as this is just a really good Pokemon to have around for more or less any type of special moveset you can think of, barring a few types it can't learn. I guess if I had to say if anything is a little weird with it, it's that one of the moves that you would argue is most useful on it, in terms of like power that I can learn by leveling up for the Psychic type, is Physical now? But it can do some decent physical attacks as well, just does better with special. And I think whatever it's lacking in that, you can teach it with TMs either now or down the line. The thing you're going to start noticing, by the way, is a lot of trainers moving forward and just the random routes are technically completely optional, as they'll either have a way you can skip everything with like using all the HMs you got, like Surf and Cut, or by just carefully walking around. It is really towards the end of a region where Pokemon battles tend to just be a lesser problem, as unless they're required, they don't have anything new. Which is why I'm hoping that the further we get into this LP, the more progress we're going to start having in every video. Because I am, even though this is a much larger game, kind of comparing this against the Fire Red LP from years back in terms of progress. And if memory serves, we're still about equal with the pace we were back on that LP, but that's gonna get real different towards the Pokemon League for reasons. Either way, this is the Lake of Rage. It's raining here right now, and it will more or less always be raining after we're done with the main stuff here, unless you come here on a Wednesday. When it's raining, the area is flooded, and you can use certain routes around on your surfing Pokemon to go above the trees and reach certain items you can't reach otherwise. With that said, there's also some items you can't reach while the water is here. There are some down below in the trees that we're not going to be able to get for a hot minute. I believe I go back and get those during the inevitable lap of the world to get the items I believe I missed along the way towards the end of the LP. Now, you can reach this upcoming house, by the way, no matter what state the lake's in, but this one's got an interesting thing in it. You have strayed far. Here I have meditated. Inside me, a new power's been awakened. Let me share my power with your Pokemon. Take this, child. This is TM10. This is Hidden Power. Hidden Power's entire gimmick is that its type depends on the individual Pokemon. Not even the species, the individual. The type that the move is used as is calculated based off of an equation that's kind of complicated to talk about that relates all of the Pokemon's IVs across their main stats. In later games, this would get changed to always prioritize Pokemon's weaknesses, particularly I believe Arceus did that. In the right hands, Hidden Power can be, well, powerful. So can Secret Power. Secret Power is an interesting TM in that it does just straight up damage for one thing, but it has a 30% chance of doing a secondary effect like lowering stats or inflicting a status ailment, and what that chance does depends on the environment you're in. For instance, in a multiplayer battle, it'll cause confusion. In a cave, it can cause things to flinch, things of that nature. Unusual Gyarados, okay. In a lot of the water types that you can be on for fields, it can cause stats to get lowered by a single stage. Moves like this are interesting if you know how to use them and go through the process of, say, making a Pokemon that has particular IVs to get the effects you want. I don't like doing that. In fact, barring a certain exception we'll talk about in a moment, I think I've gone through the process to have a perfect IV Pokemon maybe once, and even then, I don't think every perfect IV Pokemon's Hidden Power is a good time for memory. There's a lot that goes into that. Choice specs, by the way, are an interesting item. They boost your special attack, but lock you into only using the first move you use in a battle for the rest of that battle. For instance, if I put that on Chris and use Surf, he can only use Surf, unless I believe you switch out. Could be useful, but I'm always worried about the potential needing to swap moves, especially in trainer battles. So I don't tend to use it. I tend to use one of its cousins more often than not, actually. Did my eyes deceive me? I saw a red Gyarados in the Lake of Rage, but I thought Gyarados were usually blue. The Gyarados are angry. It's a bad omen. Should probably check down the second fishing guru's house. Now, I don't pick this up down the line, but if you eventually catch a large enough Magikarp, because every single Pokemon does have their own individual size, usually, marked in the status screen, you can bring them here, and if it's large enough, he'll give you an Ether. Not very useful, but it's there, I guess, if you want a free PP restorative. Let's go check out that Gyarados. It looks like the game's getting its coloring long for some reason here a little bit. Oh, they directly talked about it. Okay, so the red Gyarados is a forced introduction to something introduced in the original Generation 2 shiny Pokemon. They are a different color, and in Gen 3 Beyond, that's all it is. In the original Generation 2, shiny Pokemon always had perfect IVs across the charts. But in Gen 3 on, it is now dictated entirely by calculation that I think takes into account your trainer ID, a secret ID, which is more behind the scenes thing, as well as some amount of luck. The bottom line is it comes down to an odds of about 1 in 8,192. Down the line in the series, I believe they reduced those odds, or I guess increased those odds to 1 in 4096. But it's just lucky, it's bragging rights if you have a shiny. I've only found a couple naturally over the years, you can always farm them out. Frankly, I don't see a purpose in trying to farm them out because I feel the entire point of shinies is that they're meant to be surprises, the genuine surprise. But that's only my mentality. For instance, as I believe I've told on content before, my most recent natural shiny was when I was going to complete the Hoenn Pokedex in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. I was farming Carvanhas for Deep Sea Tooths to evolve Clamperl into, I think that's Huntail? And I got myself a lime green Carvana, and that still lives on in my Omega Ruby, or no, my Alpha Sapphire cartridge, as Jump the Purple Sharpedo. I'm catching this Gyarados, though, for one notable reason. There is another water-based HM or two that I would rather not have to put onto Chris, and a Gyarados can use one of them rather well. That, and it is probably the only shiny you're likely to find on a playthrough of SoulSilver. There are a few shinies that are considered just sort of everyone's got them. Red Gyarados, blue Ponytas nowadays. I think there was one in Gen 5 you got for free as well. I forget what that was. But I could think of only one name for someone as red as this majestic sea serpent. Welcome to the team, Graham. We'll see him again down the line. And we get a red scale. That is much more important. You get that no matter what, as long as you've done that fight for story. Hi there. That red Gyarados wasn't acting right. As I feared, somebody must have forced it to evolve. Did you come here because of the wild tales? Here, Kyle. I'm Lance, a trainer like you. I heard some rumbling, so I came to investigate. I saw the way you battled earlier, Kyle. I can tell that you're a trainer with considerable skill. If you don't mind, could you help me investigate? Sure. Excellent. It seems that the Lake of Rage's Magikarp are being forced to evolve. A mysterious radio broadcast coming from Mahogany is probably the cause. And that suspicious souvenir shop. I'll be waiting for you in Mahogany, Kyle. But before we go do that, we want to head back towards Cherry Grove City, because now that we have the red scale, we can give that to Mr. Pokemon for a very useful item. And while I'm here, might as well grab the apricorn. Even though I'm not using them, I still want to see them when I grab them, because I like that popping sound when it lands out of the tree. How you doing, Mr. Pokemon? It's been a hot minute. That red scale? What's that? A red Gyarados? That's rare. I want it. Kyle, would you care to trade it? I can offer this experience share I got from Professor Oak. Sure. And that gives us the experience share. The experience share is a held item that gives 50% of the experience earned in battle to whoever's holding it no matter what. The other 50% is divided evenly amongst the other Pokemon who participated in the battle. Dragonite, Hyper Beam. That man is dead. What took you so long, Kyle? Just as I thought, that strange radio signal's coming from here. A wise decision. The stairs are right here. Kyle, we should split up to check this place out. I'll go first. Alright. Welcome to one of the more tedious dungeons in Pokemon history to me. This is the Team Rocket headquarters. Ooh, cute Persian statue. Its eyes are glowing red. That's adorable. It's angry. I love it. Cute kitty. That's probably not good, though. Hey, intruder alert! Alright, so I'm going to be speeding these up a little differently after this one, but every single Persian statue you walk in front of puts you in a fight against 2 Team Rocket grunts in a row. There's a switch somewhere in the base to turn them off, but frankly, I want all the experience points. That's the only one I am speeding up the way that we're seeing right now, though, in that we are seeing the little cutscene between a normal speed as well. Speed up theme for this part, by the way, is Stand Your Ground, the main battle theme of Final Fantasy 15. As many problems as that game had, its soundtrack was fantastic. Now, this floor is interesting in that you could either just face 2 Persian statues, so 4 battles, and then 1 Team Rocket grunt, and then go through a little hazard room. I'm taking the other route to be the required battles, more or less. Just because I want the more experience, plus I want time to explain the main little gimmick with this floor in particular. The Pokemon you're going to be seeing in this place, by the way, are by and large the usual Team Rocket sets. Zubat line, Rattata line, Coughing line, occasional Geodude, I think, and Drowsies. What's a little interesting about this place is, not only are there a lot of good items to grab here, usually high-level healing items, good status effect healers, I think a couple of key items that, not key items, held items you can grab. There are technically wild Pokemon on this floor in particular. If you take the upper route, that's just the 2 Persian statues and 1 fight, there is a floor made out of a grid we're going to see in a few moments that has set Pokemon encounters on certain tiles. You can run into Voltorbs, Coughings, and Geodudes. With that said, I believe in Gen 2's version of this dungeon, there wasn't a way to get through that without getting an encounter. You can now, if you either know the path or just super careful, find a path through that has no encounters on it. And I'll even show that off in a few moments. The biggest problem to me about this dungeon comes down to a musical thing to me. Because I like this song as short as it is, I just wish you got to hear more of it. And while I love the Team Rocket encounter theme and battle theme, you hear it way too much in a very short span of time in this portion and in another portion later down the road. Gen 2's melody's biggest problem usually, when it's not certain battle themes, comes down to, I think the songs might be a little too short in some cases. I feel starting in Gen 3 at least, from memory, songs usually got longer to the point where it wasn't as big of a problem if they looped a lot. This is the grid, by the way. If you want to get through this without doing a battle, I think there's also some items hidden on here, but I think they might be below Pokemon or something. Just follow what I'm doing exactly. Also, in a weird way, this reminds me of something they would do technically earlier on compared to Heart Gold SoulSilver, but later on compared to Gen 2. A section in the original Pokemon Ranger plays out very similarly to that floor. In fact, there's an entire portion of that game that's very similar to this rocket base. I need to get to those games at some point, because I love Ranger 2 and 3 a lot. Ranger 1 was a nice proof of concept in a lot of ways that had some cool ideas, but also was a little bit clumsy as a game. More on that when I get to it. This dungeon also goes on to mention, I believe I either talked about recently in the LP, or I forget if that was when I was streaming Emerald. I feel a big problem with the villainous teams in Pokemon is that they are especially limited by the usual, like, 3 to 4 lines a trainer class can use, or at least are mostly using. If they had more lines of Pokemon they could have access to and vary up the battles a bit more, areas like this would be a lot more interesting. And that is a problem that goes through today just because they want different classes to use different types of Pokemon. Makes sense on concept, but when you fight 40 of them in a row, it just gets annoying. That's mostly why I'd say every single Pokemon route has like 3 or 4 different types of trainers individually. Barring the occasional like Pier route where there's only fishermen. Because they want you to be fighting more than one type of Pokemon. Oh, hey Lance. Are you alright? Your Pokemon are hurt and tired. Here, give them some of my medicine. Thus completely nullifying the Pokemon Center trip I cut out just a moment ago. Kyle, let's give our best for Pokemon. I will say though, the first floor is definitely the longest floor in the dungeon if you do every single fight. The rest of the fights in this are either much easier to dodge, or much quicker otherwise. Heh, only the one who guards the boss's room knows the password for that door. Where's the boss's room? Who knows? Go look for yourself. Thankfully, this dungeon's otherwise also very linear, so you don't need to worry about getting lost. Just worry about hidden items being hidden in boxes where they probably actually should belong. We're only beginning to really get some use out of the dowsing machine. Get used to that beeping. The door won't open? Well, duh, it has to have a password that only Team Rocket knows. I think this fight might be optional, but I'm not entirely certain. I think you might be able to walk right above this particular Team Rocket grunt. But, it's good to get that dialogue in there at least. So we gotta get a password for that door we just passed. Okay, then. Hello again, Lance. Kyle, in order to unlock the door to the radio transmitter, you need the voice of a certain person. The name of that person is Petrel, the Team Rocket executive. I found out he's hiding in their leader's office. Unfortunately, though, that room's also protected with a password. Kyle, we need the password to their leader's office first. And thus, our duty for this floor is guaranteed. The guy in the cave is incredibly tough, and I had no choice but to tell him all the secrets by this hideout. Except our leader's office is protected with 2 passwords. So we need to find 2 passwords in order to reach the end of the area. They're not hard to find, just battle every single Team Rocket grunt you see. Do I know the password? Maybe. But no weakling's gonna get it. Well, unfortunately, you're Team Rocket Grunt, which means, by default, you're one of the weakest trainer types in the franchise overall, but this one does have a new Pokemon. This is Gloom. This evolves from Oddish level 21. Grass poison type, so it is weak to flying, fire, psychic, and ice. Gloom? It's okay. Decent special attack and defense stats. HP and attack aren't too bad either. It's not quite at the point where it's reached the specialization for either of its third evolutions, which we've already seen Veloci. We'll see the other one down the line a little bit. But there are worse grass types. Grass's biggest problem, it feels like, for the Gen 1 and 2 grass types. If they're not pure grass type, they're usually grass poison. And that typing has its uses, especially for using status ailments. But that just has a lot of very easy to find weaknesses, and it really limits the type overall. Gen 3 Beyond would introduce better subtyped grass types overall, or just better pure grass types. But that's Gen 3. The password to the boss's room is Slowpoke Tail, but it's useless unless you have 2 passwords. One down, one to go, and thankfully the other one's really close by. Thinking about it though, like, dungeons in Pokemon games. I'd say we didn't get a really complicated dungeon in Pokemon until, admittedly, for all the problems I have with Sinnoh's layout, Gen 4. Mount Coronet has a lot going on in it, so does the Distortion Realm. The Team Galactic Hideout, I remember being a little bit mazy. Yuck, 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 yuck. You're challenging me to a battle? You're nuts, but you have guts. I like that. If you can beat me, I'll tell you your password to the boss's room. And thus we have our other sacrificial lamb of a password. The password for the boss's door, Raticate Tail, but if you don't have both passwords... Thinking back to dungeons. Gen 5 had a couple of good dungeons. So did the spin-offs, like, barring Mystery Dungeon because randomly generated dungeons are a little bit tougher to have work. Ranger had great dungeon layouts and area layouts. Gen 6's dungeons, I don't remember being anything too special, though. Same with Gen 7. Gen 8 didn't even really have dungeons. I'm wondering how Gen 9's gonna handle that, when we get to that. For all I know, I'll probably still be recording this LP by the time Scarlet and Violet release, so I guess we'll see, maybe. Because it is currently August 25th. Actually, wait, I probably won't be recording this by the time we hit November, huh? I'm thinking maybe more of Trails from Zero. Either way, I guess we'll see. And I'll be able to talk about that when I eventually get to either Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, because that's the next mainline game I'm doing in the series, no matter what. I know, like, my goals for Pokemon on the channel in the future, barring the remakes, is after Gen 3/6-3, I want to do more spin-offs again, because it's been... I did a Mystery Dungeon originally years ago, and I really want to get to explore some Sky. I also want to get through the Ranger games. I especially need to get through Ranger 1 before we do Platinum, because I want to show off the Manaphy thing in that. But that's way down the line. But we have both passwords, so now we can... Oh, never mind. Hi there, Silver. So you're messing with them again. You must really like Team Rocket so much. Tell me, who was the guy in the cape who used Dragon-type Pokemon? Mine were no match at all. I don't care that I lost. I can beat him by getting stronger Pokemon. It's what he said that bothers me. He told me that I don't love and trust my Pokemon enough. I'm furious that I lost to a bleeding heart like him. I don't have the time for the likes of you. Okay, bye. Why were you even here? Ooh, free Ultra Ball. Either way, as I was about to say, now that we have both passwords, let's use the 2 passwords here and open the door. Alright, let's see what we got going on in here. That's a familiar face. We've been waiting for you. So you are Kyle. Me? You don't know who I am. It is me, Giovanni, the majestic Giovanni himself. Huh? I don't sound anything like Giovanni. I don't even look like Giovanni. How come? I've worked so hard to mimic him. I am a Team Rocket executive. You must be trying to sneak into the radio transmitter room. Well, that's not gonna happen. That room is protected with a special password. The password is Hail Giovanni. Surprised to hear from me? Knowing the password won't help you, though. The door won't open unless I say the password. It only reacts to my voice. Okay, another new Team Rocket executive introduced for Heart Gold SoulSilver. This was just a generic executive in the original game. This is Petrel. Starting off, he's throwing out a Zubat. Inner Focus for its ability. Astonish, Bite, Wing Attack, Confuse Ray. If you're tired of fighting these by this point, I don't blame you. You've already fought at least 8 of them here, more than likely. I don't know why they didn't give the executives more unique Pokemon. And the massive thing is they do a little bit in the case of, like, 2 particular fights. Technically 3. But Petrel and Proton, for some reason, just get the standard stuff. And it's like, why? You make these unique sprites for them. You give them slightly unique personalities. Why not give them something a little more? Even if they had more evolved Pokemon, like, Petrel could have a Crobat at this point. He could have a Weezing. We just don't get to see it. And it's like, I don't get it. I really do not get it. Either way, I really missed his coughing. Coughing, Levitate for ability, Smog, Smokescreen Assurance, and Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct there can be pretty annoying even if it sacrifices his own Pokemon. And his Raticate's got Guts for the ability, Hyper Fang, Sucker Punch, Scary Face, and Crunch. So this thing can bring some decent physical damage at least. And there it goes. Not much of a fight. I couldn't do a thing. Oh, Giovanni, please forgive me. Since disbanding Team Rocket 3 years ago, our Giovanni has been missing. But we're certain he's been waiting for the right time for our revival. Losing to you won't change the fact that you are unable to get in the radio transmitter room. You need my voice to unlock it. Bye-bye. Ow. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hail Giovanni! Murkrow's mimicking the voice of Petrel. You may be able to... Well, this is incredibly convenient. I forget if the Murkrow's there in the original game. I want to say it is. Or maybe you just get a key. It's been a hot minute since I last played through Gold, Silver, and Crystal. The password is Hail Giovanni. Once you've done the Petrel fight, though, the rest of this dungeon's pretty straightforward. You're just walking back to the transmitter room and doing what we need to do there. Hail Giovanni! Also, won't lie, had to look back at my Fire Red LP to remember what voice I gave Giovanni. And when doing that, I realized, man, I named my Vaporeon after my brother 2 games in a row. Whoops. At least that can't happen in Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire from memory, because you can't really easily get an Eevee in that. Password is Hail Giovanni! Murkrow screamed the password, mimicking the voice of Petrel. The voice recognition system unlocked the door! Hooray! Let's finish this place off. Hold it right there. We can't let a brat like you do as you please forever. It'll hurt Team Rocket's pride over and over again, making it lessen, you see. So it's time to finish you. However strong you may be, if the 2 of us fight at the same time, you'll have no chance of winning, don't you agree? Sorry, baby. Now get ready to get thrashed. Hold it. A 2-on-1 battle? That is so unfair. Typical of Team Rocket to be so sneaky. Allow me to join the battle. What? You had an accomplice. Where's your sense of dignity? As interim boss in the place of Giovanni, I'll show you how wrong it is to meddle with Team Rocket. Boss fight of sorts is a double battle against Ariana and a standard Team Rocket Grunt. The standard Team Rocket Grunt's not going to be standing around too long, though. They've got Ace, Drowsy with Insomnia, Disable, Confusion, Headbutt, and Poison Gas, and a Grimer with Stench, Mud Slap, Disable, Minimize, and Sludge. Disable and Minimize is the bigger pain in the ass out of that particular move set. Ariana, though, starts off with a new Pokemon. This is Arbok. This is the evolution of Ekans at level 22, still a pure poison type, so it's weak to ground and psychic. Arbok's got an okay attack stat and some decent speed to back it up. The rest of its stats aren't anything super standout, but it's balanced enough that I can consider using it. It having Intimidate so easily is also pretty helpful to get rid of that slightly lower physical defense from memory. The big problem with Arbok from memory is its learn set isn't anything substantial until maybe Gen 4 onwards with the physical special split. There are better poison subtypes, for instance, Crobat, but it's, I'd say, worth a shot. The Arbok, though, in particular, has Intimidate for its ability, Glare, Crunch, Wrap, and Poison Sting. So its main strategy is trying to poison you, wrap you up, and then get some flinches in while you just kind of decay away in the distance. Now, I forget if the way this double battle works is the moment that the Team Rocket runs out of Pokemon if Ariana throws out her next one. Also, Lance has got a Dragonite. Kind of ridiculous, and it's at level 40 somehow when that Pokemon doesn't evolve in that until the 50s, which is a little weird. Lance, are you cheating? Man, you were criticizing Team Rocket of evolving those Gyarados early, and here you are doing the same thing with your Dragonair? What the hell, man? Either way, Ariana's Gloom, Chlorophyll for its ability, not that it gets to use it, Sweet Scent, Mega Drain, Acid, Sleep Powder. The annoying thing about movesets like that is, unless the Pokemon has an ability that prevents certain status ailments from hitting, like say, since it has Sleep Powder, you have a Pokemon with Insomnia or something like that as an ability, you're just wasting a move slot with two moves that can do status ailments to me. That's why I tend to go for all damage moves, in the occasional status Razor. Now it's time for Ariana's final Pokemon, and it's a new one. This is Murkrow. Super Luck for its ability, Nightshade, Wing Attack, Astonish, and Pursuit. Super Luck, by the way, heightens critical hit ratios. Murkrow is a dark flying type, meaning it is weak to Rock, Electric, Ice, and Fairy. Very fast, very decent attacking Pokemon as well. Its attacking stats are very good for a first stage. The problem is its defenses aren't anything to write home about, and it doesn't got a lot of HP as well, so it kind of gets knocked out pretty easily, but its evolution it got in Gen 4 does make for a much better Pokemon. Another problem with a lot of Johto's new Pokemon, some of them didn't get the evolutions they needed to make them worthwhile until Gen 4 beyond. But that's the fight. You really are strong. It's too bad. If you were to join Team Rocket, you could become like an executive. And the Grunt's got nothing to say because she said everything that needs to be said. But that's fine. The broadcast experiment was a total success. It doesn't matter what happens to this hideout now. We have much bigger plans. You'll come to appreciate Team Rocket's true power soon enough. Enjoy yourself while you can. Sorry, Kyle. I saw how well you were doing, so I just hung back. Now all that there's left to do is turn off that odd radio signal. Alright, what do we got going on in here? That's definitely a machine. It's this machine that's causing all the problems. I don't see a switch on it. We have no choice. We have to make all the electrode faint. That should stop this machine from transmitting that strange signal. It's no fault of the electrode, so it makes me feel sad. Kyle, let's split the job. You know, it's not like we're killing the electrodes, so why does it make you feel sad? Unless faint in this context really is just a censored version of kill. We have to fight 3 electrodes. I'm cutting it out, though, because they're just electrodes. Use a ground type move if you got them, and it should go down pretty quickly. Otherwise, just go all out. That odd signal's finally stopped. The lake should be back to normal. You're the best. Let me thank you on behalf of all the Pokemon. Oh, yes, you should take this. I found it here, but I don't have any need for it. And we get HM05. That's Whirlpool. Teach it to a Pokemon to get across wild water, but keep this in mind. You can use that out of battle only with the badge from Mahogany Gym. Kyle, the journey to becoming the Pokemon champion's long and difficult. Knowing that, will you keep going? I see. No, you're right. If you would give up that easily, you'd have never chased that dream in the first place. I look forward to seeing you again. And that's Team Rocket HQ all wrapped up. Kind of a long dungeon, all things considered, and has a lot of repeat Pokemon, but it's nothing much to write home about. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 13, we're going to go challenge the Mahogany Gym. And probably then remember to go challenge the Olivine Gym. See you guys then.